morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy weekend. Give yourself a pat on the back. You made it to Friday. Like, the weekend is here. You're going to relax. You're going to chill. Full slate of NBA preseason games tonight to get us ready for Tuesday, October 18th, when the league kicks off for real. So we're going to talk about that. Also, the NBA Canada series is tonight. Toronto hosting Boston. That'll be on NBA TV. Definitely we'll talk about that. But everybody's looking to the West as we have a showdown between the Golden State Warriors and the Denver Nuggets tonight at 10 p.m. Can't wait to get to it. 2 games last night. A little bit to talk about. Ja Morant, Josh Giddey, Josh Primo. Appreciate everybody coming through. If you want a mic, go ahead and request it. The actual show card is in there. Do me a favor, like and retweet it for the good people to know that we're open and ready to go. I see some people down below. What's up, Jose? Paradox Killer 23. One of the hosts of 77 Spaces, the best damn Mavs content you can get here on Twitter. Make sure you shoot them a follow. All right, I'll be back in about 30 as we get set to break down the final day of NBA preseason action. Appreciate everybody. Good morning. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Happy Friday. I'm glad that you made it. Give yourself a round of applause. Like, world be hard, y'all. It's difficult sometimes. Today, my son is home doing virtual learning, except that he forgot to bring home the computer to do the virtual learning. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. If you need a mic, go ahead and request it. Only 2 games, so it's not going to be as long of a show, ladies and gentlemen. If you missed yesterday's episode, we'll get this up here. Phenomenal discussion with Christian Winfield of the New York Daily News, breaking things down for all the Brooklyn Nets fans. We're looking to do more of that in season 2 of Hoop Spaces, getting you the access to the reporters, players, and media personalities to help make your basketball viewing pleasure even more pleasurable. And I say that specifically because I've got some good news. We are getting ready to finish up the pitch to the NBA to see if we can't become a partner via the NBA Launchpad. So look out for that. We'll have the newsletter up and running next week to get you caught up on all of the games. And essentially, what this newsletter is just like your recap. You don't have to go to all of these websites. You don't have to go around. You sign up for it with the email. It'll get directly to you every day. It'll give you the scores, the top performers. And it's just something that we're looking at. So when you do come in here, you got some ammo. Like, nothing's worse than coming up to talk ball, and then the person you trying to talk ball with didn't watch the game and have zero recollection of what happened. So we're going to hook you up with that next week. Also, get ready to start every 7 to 10 days or so, getting a feature article over at hoopspaces.com as we go ahead and move into what I was told is the realm of respectability, whatever that means. All right, 2 games last night. All right, Grizzlies and Pistons, and Ja Morant put it on them, 31-8-4. But he looked good. He looked healthy. He looks engaged, and he looks like he's been working on his shot. Isaiah Stewart, 16-9 in the loss. A lot of talk, though, is going to start swirling around one by the name of Cade Cunningham. 5 for 16 last night, 15 boards, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. But the problem is the inefficiency at 5 and 16 and 2 for 8 from deep. The problem is also the turnovers. He had another high turnover game, 4. Right now, he's cruising at basically a 1.8 to 1 assist to turnover ratio. And again, when we look at it, you see some Not hesitation or trepidation, but you see the slow, methodical pace that he wants to play in offense versus the run and gun that it seems that this team is built for. So we got that to talk about. I do want to give a shout out to everybody's favorite big body, aka David Roddy out of Memphis. 6'5", 250 shooting guard. Got some burn last night. I don't know if he's going to get a lot of burn in the beginning of the season, but dude can play. He had 26 minutes last night, 12 points on 4 for 8 shooting, and he is going to be a nightmare going against some of these smaller guards off the bench. The Memphis Grizzlies have been building it correctly. They have a bench full of young, hungry dudes who are trying to get playing time, just like New Orleans. So, I don't expect Memphis to potentially fall off as many others do. Like, they might lose 5 more games. That still puts them at a 52 win clip, which will be a top 6 seed in the West. The Detroit Pistons are 0-4 in the preseason, and they don't really have anything to show for it other than the fact that Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham have the potential to develop into a very formidable backcourt duo for Detroit. The recent trade acquisition seems to be a redundant feature of 2 players they already have. That is Bojan Bogdanovic. He had 5 points in 28 minutes, taking 7 shots. And I say that because they already have their own version of Bojan Bogdanovic, and his name is Saddiq Bey. 26 minutes, 17 shots, 1 for 7 from deep, 17 points. Whether you like him or not, he was Detroit's offense last year outside of Cade Cunningham. They're going to give him all of the minutes he can take to prove that he can be consistent. And I actually like Saddiq Bey. Do I like him as a number one? I don't think so. Could he be a number one if he got more consistent? Sure, he could be very similar to a number one scoring option. However, that's it. Everything else is just question marks because Isaiah Stewart hasn't shown consistency. It's looking like he's going to have to take up a larger role with the exit of Marvin Bagley, who's out with a knee injury. And he's going to be looking over his shoulder because they have a kid named Jalen Duren, who they picked up in a draft day trade. And he is going to be phenomenal. Another game, only 19 minutes. The dude picked up 12 boards, including 5 offensive rebounds. And it's going to be a heated competition for playing time, I think, come Christmas time. Like, originally, I was thinking Duren might not even be ready until the second half of the season because all he can really do is rebound and rim run, but he's just too good. His biggest problem, he fouls way too much. He chases blocks. That's going to hinder his playing time. And I want to give a shout out to 2 players. Corey Joseph had 23 minutes, 12.7 assists. And I am banging the war drum now. If you are an NBA team who is in need of a veteran point guard to be a backup, Corey Joseph is your man, right? Like, it's either Corey Joseph or TJ McConnell from Indiana. I believe both are available and both will be productive. And if you need that backup point guard, Dallas, I don't know why you're getting somebody who's 5'8" in tennis shoes. You could trade a future second-round pick for Corey Joseph, probably. And then also, shout out corner Kevin Knox II, getting some run, 18 minutes, 4 for 9, 3 for 6 from deep. A former lottery pick for the Knicks. He's been to Atlanta as well, now in Detroit, trying to get a role. And I actually believe when you look at the Detroit Pistons, he's going to have a role. And it's going to be dope to see him possibly actually develop. Because I was actually very high on Kevin Knox going into the University of Kentucky. I don't know what happened other than he probably should have stayed at Kentucky, which I said back then. All right, let me give some shout outs down below. Evan Townsend is in the building. Deep into the NBA draft. You can catch his words over at Project Spurs. Saint from Nets Kingdom is in the building from the West Coast, checking in early. Had a phenomenal discussion last night. Tried to get me on stage to talk more about the Brooklyn Nets. I just couldn't because I was working. If you love basketball, make sure you shoot him a follow. You can catch him here on Spaces hosting Nets Talk with Brandon and Jay from BK for us here at Hoop Spaces, and also on YouTube, Speaking of YouTube, Justin Patton is in the building, aka JP the franchise. I need to get with you, JP, sometime this weekend so we can work out how we're going to get your YouTube content up here on Hoop Spaces. And then we see Danny D. We want to give her a round of applause, everybody. Starting a new gig is never easy. You have to go in, develop new relationships, learn new idiosyncrasies and stuff. And we just want to make sure that you are having a good day down there in Texas. All right. There you go. I just gave you a quick breakdown of Memphis and Detroit. If you want to come on up and talk about that, raise your hand. If not, I'm going to go ahead and break down real quick the other game that I watched, which was the Thunder and Spurs, and then we will go ahead and get into it. And my apologies to all of you for those who wasted their time watching Thursday night football. I don't know why you're doing it. Why? Just tell me. Tell me why you watched it, because it sucks. Football is horrible. Basketball's back. That's where you need to be. All right. There you go. No one wants to come up. Thunder and Spurs played in San Antonio, ladies and gentlemen. Both of their preseasons are over. The Thunder, one of the only teams to play 6 games because they had the trip overseas. 118-112, the Thunder over the Spurs. And I'm here to tell you, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will be traded. let me say that again. SGA will be traded. After watching a preseason of Josh Giddey and Trey Mann, I am convinced SGA will be traded. I believe it won't be until the offseason so they can get the maximum return, as they actually probably are planning right now how to get the number 1 pick in Oklahoma City. Like, Josh Giddey has phenomenally improved shooting, and I don't think the league is really ready for this conversation about Josh Giddey. Last night, 25 minutes, 18 points, 6 boards, 6 assists, 2 steals, 66% from deep, 54% from the floor. My word. Tell me when SGA just done that, and I'll be like, okay, I'll shut up. I like him. And I like him next to Trey Mann, too, who's going to be a phenomenal shooter. All right. That game for Trey Mann, which, again, I'm going to say one more time, I'm expecting SGA to eventually be traded. Because last night, Trey Mann, 30 minutes, 17 points, 6 assists, 50% from deep, 38 from the floor. That's going to be a problem, but that is something that, as he fills out his frame, which went from 6'3" to 6'5", and finishes better at the rim, it'll tick up. Right now, he's probably Eric Gordon-esque, but he can be something better than Eric Gordon-esque, and I think we're going to see that this year. The Spurs losing again, or should I say winning in the Victor Wembanyama Olympics. They're not going to be as bad as I think people think. They're still going to have a horrible record, but they're going to have some young players that you're going to want to watch for developmental purposes, and I think they're going to be phenomenal. I think this is a year that Keldon Johnson won't make the All-Star game, but probably could. I think he and Devin Vassell are going to team up to give a 1-2 scoring punch that a lot of people who don't watch the Spurs are going to be surprised, because they can actually put the ball in the hoop, and I think they're going to have a phenomenal point guard. And a lot of people just kind of checked the Spurs off when DeJounte Murray was traded. But Trey Jones had a few games at the end of last season and has been phenomenally steady this preseason as, essentially, except for last night's shooting, a hyper-efficient point guard. And I am very interested to see if he can go into the season as a starter, maintain that starter status at about 28 to 30 minutes, and improve his three-point percentage. Like, if he can get to 37% from 3, I don't think anybody, Blake Wesley or Joshua Primo, will take the starting spot from Trey Jones. Is he the long-term answer is the question. I think, we need a whole season to find out. I'm not going to say yes or no, but I am going to say prior to this preseason, I didn't even think he was going to start. I thought he would lose it. He's kept it, and I think he's gotten better. So shout out to Trey Jones. And that's a rare shout out to me, because I do not like Duke. I don't like Duke at all. All right, we have Bonkai up here on stage. If you want a mic, Warren, you need to come up because we haven't heard your voice this preseason talking Nets. We'd love to hear your thoughts as a diehard Nets fan. Also a fan from Hoop Spaces Day One. We appreciate you. I see a couple other people who've popped in before. Buddy, Afisha, Santa Rosa, Alex, Alan. Hey, Alan, it's good to see you, man. It's been a minute. So if you guys or gals want to come on up, go ahead. But until then, we will talk with Bankai. Bankai, good morning. How are you? And I know you're excited for tonight for the preseason closeout for the Knicks. What you got?
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? I came in when you were saying football sucks. Did you say football sucks, or were my
Absolutely.
ears?
It is atrocious.
Oh God.
Like hear me out. You guys and gals get so hyped up to go watch one game a week. And you know the odds of that game being entertaining is 50-50. I, as an NBA fan, I get 40 games a week almost at times, it seems. And I can watch any player on any given day that they're playing, and I am entertained. I can't say the same for anybody who watched that mess last night between the Washington Daniel Snyders and the Chicago Justin Fields.
Listen, my Giants are 4-1 right now. Best we've been in a while. I don't care if it's entertaining. I don't care if it's boring. As long as we're winning games, I'm all good. And hopefully Sunday we beat the Ravens. I know it's a tall task, but hopefully we win. And like I said, I don't care if it's boring.
Hear yourself though.
As long as we're winning.
I don't care if it's boring. Like, are you going to watch it?
Hell yeah, I'm going to watch it. I watch every
So you're going to sit there and watch a boring game?
Yes, I will, as long as we're winning. And you know what? I'm going to tell myself, even if we're losing, I'm still probably going to watch it anyways, because I'm that much of a diehard fan. But this applies with the Knicks. This applies with Chelsea. You know, I'll sit through. You know what? I guess I'm a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, after getting a whole bunch, I mean, it becomes, addictive, and I think you just need to break away. Break away.
Yeah, but
no, I was going to say we got a couple other hands. Want to get them to say hello first. We'll come back to you so we can talk about some Knicks in the preseason last night. We'll say good morning to KP and Micah next, and we'll bounce right back to Bankai. KP, good morning. The executive hater is in the building. Ladies and gentlemen, I put out a statement yesterday, okay? It's a very simple statement. It starts with the word I and ends with the word debate. And in between it, I can't wait for the Steph Curry versus Michael Jordan debate. That's all I said. I am not a Warriors fan. I am not a Steph stan, but I am here to tell you that debate is here. And if it's not here, it's going to get here soon. Because if he wins one more ring, that's all they're going to talk about. KP, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Christopher. Thank you for letting me up. I want to reluctantly agree with you. Football is trash. It's decrepit. It's horrible. The idea of scarcity got these people in a stranglehold. Football fans are just like iPhone fans. They'll take mediocrity over anything. Like, hey, at least it's okay. At least it works fine. I could deal with it. They will mentally do hula hoops and jumping jacks and any other workout plan, just like Kanye, that we're not listening to anymore. Any other workout plan to make their point. Football's trash. Stop watching it. It's pretty dull. iPhones are trash. Just get a better phone. I will say this about your post yesterday. There is no debate. Steph is better, so the debate is over. See how easy that is. It's going to be over once it gets to number 5. Then we're going to have the debate as to who is the greatest of all time in athletes, not just basketball. So that's going to be the debate, the athletic field. So Chris, I'm here for the slander. I'm here for the rigmarole. So yeah, man. Everyone, every Sunday after the show, House of the Dragon. This is the penultimate episode. If you don't know what penultimate it means, it's the last episode before the season finale. Gonna be good. Shout out to all the Targaryens. If you're a house black or if you're a house green, we're gonna have a discussion right after the show ends. It's the best show on TV. It's better than football. And thank God it's not on that god-awful Amazon Prime. It's on a proper streaming service like HBO Max. Shout out to George R. Martin for knowing what to do and not letting Jeff Bezos' grimy, slimy hands get on his product.
There you go, KP. I have still yet to see an episode of House of the Dragon. I will wait for all of the episodes to come through so I can watch it all at once. Because that's just kind of what I've turned into. Thank you, streaming services, for making me into a binge addict. Micah, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning to you. I'm great. I just had a fantastic breakfast. I sent you a pic. Chili Relleno con carne. Gotta have it. But anyways, first off, I'll say this as a football fan. This season is garbage. When you can look at 30 teams and say that only 2 of them are actually good, that is trash. That is terrible. And just one slight comment. Did MJ ever blow a 3-1 lead with multiple all-stars on his roster? That's all I'm going to say. I'll leave it at that.
Can MJ shoot a 3-pointer to save his life? No. Stop it.
I've got the picture up here. Everybody, go ahead and grade this breakfast.
Go watch that Portland series and tell me he can't shoot a 3.
Yeah, if you had your life depending on, you wouldn't depend on him hitting the 3. So stop it. I understand you're at work. You might be distracted. Your brain might be distracted also. So I understand.
Steph is never getting the DPOY in life.
All right, see. Like this is where we're not going yet. Like that's what I was saying. Like it's here. Like they're already doing it. So, like, to everybody who's saying there isn't a debate, you're wrong, but we're here. Grade the breakfast. Micah sent it. There you go. Chili relleno con carne. Smash, pass. You know, I love it. It looks good to me. If you want a mic, go ahead and come on up. Go ahead and request it. All right. There we go. We said good morning. We had to stop the quick MJ Curry debate because we ain't there yet. I didn't even put it up here. Wasn't even trying to have it this morning. Nicole's joined us. JF has joined us. Danny has joined us. We'll get a second round of hellos after we talk with Bonkai. Bonkai, I know for a fact that you are looking at this Knicks team completely differently than heading into the offseason. I said, and you've been here when I said it, the Knicks are much improved. I don't know what that means for the record, but anybody who can't see that the Knicks are improved, they're just not watching enough basketball. Tonight, they host the Washington Wizards. What are you looking forward to as they close out their preseason?
Quentin Grimes. I hope he finally plays tonight. We have a bit of a pickle at the wing spot because Evan Fournier, to me, he's a great shooter. Obviously, he can shoot, but he's not that great of a defender. Obviously, he's kind of a turnstile. Cam Reddish had an opportunity to steal the starting spot at the wing, and he's shown nothing, absolutely nothing. And Quentin Grimes, he's the one actually with the most potential. I mean, he can shoot the 3, he can play defense, he's very versatile. He still needs to learn how to, drive the ball to the basket a little more, but I think that'll come with due time. And I'm not saying he's going to be an all-star or anything like that, but out of all 3 of them, I think he's the better option starting alongside RJ and Randall and Brunson. You can switch with him on defense, or you put him on multiple wings, guards, or whatever. So I hope he plays tonight. I was hoping Derrick Rose will play, but I don't think they'll play him tonight. They're probably going to rest him for the start of the season. And just fine-tune some small things. I mean, I hope Randall keeps playing well. He's been playing well. I'm not even going to hate on that. He's looked under control so far. Hope Brunson has a better night. Looking for IQ to have a better night as well. He showed a little bit of tunnel vision last game, so I hope he looks for his teammates more. And I want to see another East Bay dunk by Obi, to be honest.
All right.
Just hope nobody gets hurt before the season starts either. You know what I mean? That would be really bad.
I do find it funny that how you described Quentin Grimes was exactly how the Knicks fans described Cam Reddish after the trade.
I mean, You know what it is, though. At
What is
least
it?
with Quentin Grimes last season and the minutes that he played, you saw he was never really like up and down. He showed you consistency, which is the most you can ask for. Like he's been the most consistent out of Cam Reddish. That's for sure. I mean, Fournier has been the better shooter, but again, he doesn't bring you the defense that Quentin Grimes brought you last season. That's to me the deal breaker right there. He can play defense and give you a few threes a game here and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, I appreciate it. Up next, we're going to go ahead and move next to Nicole, who's up here. We'll say good morning to Nicole. Nicole, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Chris. I'm good. How are you, honey?
I'm doing well. We've got a full slate of games. We actually have more than a full slate. What game are you looking forward to today?
I have no idea, to be honest. I am currently at work. I've been at work since like 5:30 this morning, dealing with some work overload. But I wanted to speak on the whole NFL thing. Um, man, this is so sad. The NFL has just been underwhelming for me this year. I've been a fan my whole life. It was something that I grew up with. Me and my grandfather bonded over football and basketball. So my team has been really underwhelming. I actually used to write for them, and it was just so like draining for me that I stopped and started writing for the Grizzlies. So there's that if anyone wants to know how the NFL season is going.
All right. See, I'm telling you, NBA over the NFL and every day that ends in Y. It's that simple. All right. We'll say good morning to JF and we'll say good morning to Danny, Allen, and Knight, and then we'll keep it moving. I want to say what's up to one of the best creators that you can have in terms of pop culture. Jeff J says is in the building. You got to catch him over on Madison Square Garden Networks for BetX, but more importantly, you got to catch Power After Hours. He hosts a phenomenal recap show in that entire universe. He is one of the best voices. So if you happen to like that and you do like pop culture, make sure you follow Jeff J Says. Up next, we'll say good morning to JFK. JF, good morning. How you doing?
Morning, Chris. Two things this morning, Chris. Man, I just got to say this first and foremost. Look, basketball is my first love, but football is my passion. All right, and if we don't have NFL, there's a plenty other football to watch. College, high school. Check out your local little league parks because I'm pretty sure they're playing better football than NFL. I understand everybody's beef with the NFL. Trust me, I get it. Same thing that we had to deal with Dan Snyder. Same thing we got to deal with Rob Sarver. Like this is like the problem is not the game itself. The problem is the people, actually having the money to hold these organizations. So the problem it doesn't go anywhere, whether it be the NBA or the NFL. We're always going to see this problem. The one thing I do appreciate the NFL is they get a little bit nasty. I mean, I don't like Dan Snyder as a person, but I do commend his comment by saying, well, I got enough dirt on the NFL, so let them mess with me. I want to see that whole thing blow up. Let's see what happens. You know what I'm saying? The same thing I want to see with the NBA. If they've given Robert Sarver only a $10 million fine, what happens when the whole thing blows up? But my next thing is I got to take one person off of my list with the Draymond and the Ben Simmons. I'm not going to talk about them today. Some people just get better over the years. When they take off a jersey maybe, and I get to see their real face, their real colors, the person for who they are. And I got to give a shout out to Paul Pierce. I mean, I don't know if it's the weed and strippers, but the man's talking some logic now. He actually had Miami in the top four, and nobody else had Miami in the top four. I saw Cleveland in there. I saw other stuff. But shouts out to Paul Pierce. He's officially off my list, at least for this season, Chris.
Wow. I'm still trying to figure out who Monica was. Still, to this day, like I want to know who Monica was because he was extremely worried for that young lady. Extremely worried.
Chris, you see how he's becoming a man's man? Like, he's worried about the ladies now, bro. Like, he's gaining a conscience, Chris. He's gaining a conscience.
All right, we're gonna move next to Danny D. Danny D, diehard Warriors fan, picking Steph Curry or Michael Jordan. Danny, good morning.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. This is probably the last day you may hear my voice because Monday I start the new job.
It's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard. People don't understand the stress of starting. You could be happy, but it's still hard. It's this. It's.
I'm happy, but see, Chris, you've become part of my morning routine. You're like the coffee, the tea that I drink in the morning, and now I'm probably gonna be on replay game on YouTube, and that's what I'll probably be. But if I can be in there, I won't say anything. I'll probably go in the chat box and make my comments, and then hopefully you'll see them. But other than that, everything's good. I mean, we can have an argument about Steph and Michael. I mean, Steph is in golf 2K. They physically put this Negro
They sure do.
in the game, and Michael can't even say that, and even LeBron can't even say that. I don't even know if he played golf. He's always running there lying about something he read or saw. That's another story for another day. I'm looking forward to see what happens tonight with Draymond and the Warriors. Preseason game. Looking forward to Tuesday. I told my husband I'm cooking tacos on Tuesday. Get the tequila ready and enjoy the start of the NBA season. Pray for me on Sunday when the Cowboys and the Eagles play, because my husband's an Eagle fan. I told him I will lock myself in the bedroom, because if them boys lose, oh God, God bless the children, Lord, because my husband's gonna go crazy. He's a diehard Eagle fan, so you know how that works. Other than that, I'm just glad to be alive and see another day and see how my dogs adjust when I leave to go to work on Monday. Because this morning, one of them sit from the front door and looked at me like, girl, you ain't leaving this house. What are you doing? You don't get up this early.
You know for a fact that they aren't gonna do it well. They gonna whine and cry. I saw this video of this dude gaslighting his dog, and I can see your dogs tearing up and crying.
Lucky for me, my husband is off on Monday. So that's the blessing. So they'll have him all day. And when I get home, oh Lord, that's the part that's probably going to be they act right for him because they fear him. He's the alpha.
All right,
So
hey, we have got a picture. Michael Jordan is a playable character in PGA 2K.
Oh, he is. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I now also have a video of LeBron James at Top Golf, and I'm going to get that up there because it is hilarious.
Oh no! But anyway, I'm done. But you need to watch House of the Dragon. You don't even have to watch the first season of Game of Thrones to understand what's going on. It's located in one spot. You're doing one location, not jumping around like the previous show. It is really good. Last Sunday's episode, KP, it had me crying. It literally, I was like, "Ooh, got a little tear out of a sister." You know what I'm talking about? It just,
go ahead, KP, and then we'll let JF. He wanted to hop in here.
I gotta go, but I want to say this: football is so trash that it gentrified another sport's name and stole it. You stole another sport, and they had to change their name in this country while they call that same sport a different name in another country. That's how trash football is. It gentrified another sport's name. Good God Almighty!
Yo, Chris, I have a quick question for KP. It's not football related, actually. Are you gonna review? Are you gonna review Halloween Ends? Because I think it drops tonight.
Yes, I am gonna review it. Am I gonna pay to go see it? That's another story, but I will be reviewing it.
If you got Peacock, you can watch it for free, I think.
Not yet.
Okay.
I don't need Peacock to watch it for free.
I forgot the barbershop. Yeah.
There you go. All right. JF, hop in here real quick, and then we got Knight and Allen getting ready to go too.
Yeah, if we're going with the debate against Steph and Michael Jordan, we're talking about video games. Steph Curry never had his own video game. Michael Jordan had a completely different video game. Him and Shaq are the only two NBA players that have their own video games.
That is not true.
To do with basketball.
That is not true. Larry Bird.
It had nothing to do with basketball.
Oh, that had nothing to do with basketball? Yeah, no, because they're basketball players.
But that's what I'm saying. Michael Jordan and Shaq had two video games that had nothing to do about basketball.
All right. Larry Bird should have a basketball game that has nothing to do with basketball. It'd be hilarious.
It'd be a farming game.
It would. It'd be like Goat Simulated. All right. We've got Allen and Knight. We'll get them up here. We've got Micah, Danny D, and Sadasa has joined us. Allen, good morning. Question. Are you concerned about the Lakers?
Bro, it's too early for that question, right?
Yeah, I know it is.
What's up, Chris? I woke up this morning, grabbed myself a cup of coffee, and I saw you on Spaces, and I was like, man, I gotta go say what's up to my brother because we share the same birthday, and I just have one question, bro. And I know I know you talk a lot of hoops and stuff. I actually got two questions for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
First is, how are you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. I'm ready for. We did 217 episodes last year. I want to do 220 this year. Doing pretty good. I could do. I could do. I'm not gonna lie. I could do with Pete's Coffee out here. Like I am so sick of Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts that I could use Pete's Coffee, and they don't have it here, and it's a shame.
Oh, okay, cool. And I guess my next question. Okay, so going pertaining to the Lakers, just a question, and you kind of want to see your analysis on it. Is we have a lot of guards, obviously, right? Who do you have out of our rotation in the guard lineup? Who do you have the odd man out?
You know that that's a great question. Lonnie Walker has proven that he's going to need to play, right?
Mhm.
You picked up Dennis Schroeder. You have Kendrick Nunn coming back. You picked up Patrick Beverly. Those are all redundant parts at this point.
Yeah.
And they are pushing Austin Reeves out the door. And I like Austin Reeves, but Lonnie Walker's just played better on both ends of the ball than Austin.
Mhm.
And there's just no place for him. Like you're not going to play him over Pat Bev.
Yeah.
You're not going to play him over Kendrick Nunn. Like maybe Dennis Schroeder if they, say we've got enough point guards. And then Juan Toscano and Troy Brown are going to take pretty much, I think, most of the 3-spot reserve minutes. So Austin Reeves, unfortunately, I think gets squeezed out here.
Oh, okay. But remember, they do view Austin and Patrick Beverly as a 3-and-D.
Yeah, except that, so is Lonnie Walker, and Lonnie Walker performed better in the preseason.
Yeah. And then I guess this is my last final question. I guess it's a 3 question is what so far right now. I know the word around Twitter is it's just preseason. But as far as preseason goes right now, like in the NBA, who are the surprises? Like, what teams are you surprised by, and what teams do you really have in that race for Wemby?
San Antonio, Utah, Oklahoma City, Orlando are the favorites in my book for Victor.
Okay, and then the surprise teams that that caught you off guard, they might actually be good. Is there any teams that have surprised you so far?
Well, the one team that has really surprised me is the Houston Rockets.
Okay.
They are gonna score. They're just not gonna stop anybody. We could be seeing games in the 140s with them.
Oh wow, okay.
I think they were third this preseason in points per game, but I think they led in points per game as a team that didn't play an international squad. Like the Bulls, I think, are number one, actually. No, the Bulls are 1, they're 2. Everybody else played some lower form of competition that skewed the numbers. And they are going to have a wide open offense. And more importantly, they have 2 bigs who are young, who play directly into how basketball's changed. Jabari Smith is going to be a phenomenal talent. He can hit the 3 in the corner. He can hit it straight up. He can hit it off the catch. He can put it on the floor. But Alperen Sengun, I think, is going to have a hell of a second year. And I think what you'll see is he's not going to wow everybody. He's going to be like Jonas Valanciunas, but better in passing the ball. And I can see him having a 14, 9, and 5 type season, similar to Domantas Sabonis. They just can't guard anybody.
Yeah. Are you a food guy?
Yeah, I'm a former chef.
Mofongo or arepas?
Mofongo.
Okay.
Straight up. The last time I went to Puerto Rico, I just went into the restaurant and said mofongo. And then they gave me a huge plate, and I just sat down and smiled, bro.
Bro, we gotta chop it up. I'm an ex-chef too, so we gotta chop it up some more.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm here, like I said, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Pop in.
Bet. All right, bro. I appreciate you for bringing me up.
Absolutely, man. Have a good one.
You too.
Knight, what's up?
What's goody? What's good? TGIF, everybody. What up, Chris? I see my man Jose down there from 77 Spaces, so you already know it's Mavs all day, every day. As far as football goes, man, I haven't really paid attention to the NFL, and then the year I decide to, everybody's calling it trash. I've been paying attention to the the Cowboys and the Ravens. And as far as I'm concerned, I guess I just care about the wins since football fucking sucks. But I'm here for Mavericks' last preseason game. I know preseason doesn't really matter, so I'm kind of just want this shit to be over so we can get to our opening game against the Suns, because I know that's going to be a battle.
Yeah, that's gonna be hilarious. I think everybody's picking the Suns to implode and have a bad season. I am not as low on the Suns as most other people. I don't see a 20 game drop. Like, I just don't. I see maybe a 10 to 15 game drop, but that would put them at around 52 wins, which is what the Dallas Mavericks had. So it's gonna be a hell of a season, and I think that's actually going to be one of the better, more entertaining matchups. Specifically because Luka does not like Devin Booker. Devin Booker does not like Luka, and it's going to be fun to watch. I'm here for it. Dang, I was about to go to her, and then she dropped off. I guess she got a phone call. All right, we got one more person to say good morning to. That is CJ of the Unathletic Pod. CJ, good morning. How you doing? Michael Jordan, Steph Curry.
Good morning, Chris. And it is entirely too early in the morning to be trying to discuss Steph versus MJ. Yes, you can give me all the booze. I'm not doing this for people this morning. Catch me on another day where I have the energy. I just got off of work, so I literally was burning the midnight oil, so I'm not doing that. But I will say this, Danny, you will be missed because you are a bright light of entertainment and laughter in the hoop spaces. So congrats on you getting your new job, but it sucks we ain't gonna be able to hear you every morning. And then I'm gonna just say this. As far as the NFL is concerned, look, I am a Las Vegas Raider fan. So, pour out a shot for me, because for 30 years of my life, the Raiders have been absolutely nothing. And it just pains me because the only solace I can take in my sport fandom is the fact that I am a fan of the Golden State Warriors. So, like, it's football always sucks. All right.
Hey,
always suck.
the funniest thing is I was a Philadelphia Eagles fan, and like when I stopped watching football regularly, like it'll be on the TV at times on Sunday because there's literally nothing else on, and I just need some background until the NBA kicks off. Like, I was able to watch some of the W during Sunday, and that was dope during the summer. But they're not here during the late end of August through until October, and I stopped watching them the year before they won the Super Bowl. And so like people are like, "Oh, you're gonna come back," and I'm like, "No." Like I'm done, and I've got a personal reason why I'm done, and it's more concussion based than Colin Kaepernick based, and it's also more Daniel Snyder based, and some stuff like that. Growing up in the DMV, like we got stories for days about the Washington Daniel Snyders. All right, want to give a shout out down below to a couple more people who've popped in here and have taken advantage of saying what's up in the chat box, because if you cannot come up, you can go down there. CJ did it, but so did TJ. So does half of you. And I really appreciate that because that shows engagement. But we need some more, right? We need some more. Usually we get about 70 to 100 people in here at a time, but I'm not getting the same amount of likes and retweets for the show card. And that's really all we care about, is to show that we are here, we are open. But I also want to shout out KL Jacobs. who's crushing it. This is what you're supposed to do, ladies and gentlemen. When you're working at home, you do your work, you put on Hoop Spaces, and then you throw on Sports Center so you can see how much better we are. There you go. That's fire. Like, that's fire. What's up, James? Good morning. You just popped up in here. You got the last good morning. We'll move on after you. How you doing?
Good morning, Chris. Danny, I agree with CJ. We're gonna miss hearing your voice, so you got to pop in and say what's up every now and then. And as far as the NFL goes, I can't speak on that too much because my son works for him, and I know a lot of people play for different teams. So y'all need to leave the NFL alone. He needs to keep his job.
Hey, I'm not trying to take anybody's money. You know what I'm saying? I feel you.
As far as the Steph Curry and Michael Jordan goes, well, that Steph Curry's good for his era. Michael Jordan's good for his era. So you can't compete them. You can't put them two together and say which is better, because Steph Curry would never make it in the 70s and 80s. He would never make it. Today, Jordan would have surpassed all of them today if he would have played. So you can't compete. You can't put those two together. That's my 2 cents on it. Man, it's good having this space, man. Chris, man, it's a blessing. You know, so I enjoyed coming on, and thank you very much for having it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I don't want to take anybody's money from them. Like I said, it's a personal thing, more with concussions and covering up some stuff. And like, in terms of would I go back? Absolutely, I would go back if they fix a couple things. So it's only a temporary thing, because in the end, consumership matters, and in the end, as each generation gets smarter, football's had to adapt and change things, and it's only a matter of time, I think, until we can actually legislate safety into the NFL. And I think once that happens, I think that'll go a long way in both a subsection of fans coming back to the sport, but also players willing to actually play longer. Because we're also, if you paid attention, players are starting to retire earlier and earlier and earlier. And they're not superstars, but these aren't the players who are going to be bums and out in a year, right? These are players who will probably have 6, 7, 8 year careers, who are saying, you know what, after my first contract, I got some life-changing money, and I done seen what Jim McMahon does. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want that. So I hope that they come to a good middle ground where they can continue to thrive, so that players have that access. Because let's be honest, if it wasn't for the NFL, the NBA, for a time period, Major League Baseball, there would not be as much generational wealth and life-changing wealth spread amongst minority communities, right? So there's positive, even in some negative. Hopefully we can get to the middle ground and elevate, more of the safe play that they've been trying to do for the last decade. All right. Appreciate everybody popping in. We are closing out on the first hour, and I have yet to do a read, so I'm going to take the time to hit the button, and I'm going to do a couple of reads here. First off, Netflix is getting ready to debut their $6.99 with advertising monthly thing, and I just think it's going to be horrible. I grew up with Netflix not having commercials, and now Netflix is going to have commercials. And to that I say, I might as well just use Paramount Plus. Like, that's what made you stand out. Like, you were our first love in terms of streaming, and now you're an also-ran. I mean, it's harsh, but it is what it is. Shout out to Viral Nico down below. Shout out to Jasmine. Harper X Rights, ladies and gentlemen, is the handle. Make sure you shoot her a follow. She's going to be huge in the W game coming next season, covering those Dallas Wings. And I can only see bigger things for her in the future. Eddie's in the building. I know he's happy. The Nets are looking good, ladies and gentlemen, and you're not going to like it. And Sad Nets isn't going to like it either, because he's going to have to actually change that Avi and his name, because I don't think the Nets are going to be sad that much longer. Thank you, everybody, for popping in to your Friday episode of Hoop Spaces, brought to you by Slam Goods. Slamgoods.com is the website. They've got apparel. They have collectibles. They have articles. They have these things that are called magazines. And like what a magazine was, for those who don't remember, were these pieces of paper that had a high gloss finish that they put words and pictures on. And you would hold it like a book similarly, and you would turn these pages, and on these pages, these words you would read and you would gain understanding. They have these over there, and they're not expensive. They're like $10. And people are like, oh my God, that's a lot. No. These are the Rewind series. They're bringing back the best magazines they've ever put out. You can get yours. You can get the whole Kobe trilogy, right? Use promo code HoopSpaces, save 15%. That's right. Giving you free money, 15%. Go to hoopspaces.com. Appreciate it. All right, we're back. Better than ever. We've got Bonkai, JFK, Knight, CJ, Danny D, and James Micah up here. We're going to go to Danny D because we're going to be sad. We are going to miss her voice. Danny D, you have found us. You are the most recent addition, in reality, to our happy family that has grown here. I want to know, what do you see for the Golden State Warriors this year?
Well, I see a team that has good bench support. I see a team that will work through their problems like any family has. It's a long season, and I see us repeating. We'll be in the top 4, and I believe we will start out right because everybody's still trying to catch up with us. Drama happens. It is what it is. Me and my husband fight shit once in a blue moon, once every 3 years. And you work it out. So it is what it is. Hopefully Draymond works his stuff out. He just got married, so all that I can think of is that marriage stuff. When you get married, stuff starts happening. And anyway, we're gonna be good. We're gonna be all right. People just want to see a chink in our armor, and people always want us to come down there and roll around in the pig pen with them. When they forget, it's levels to our game. They're not on our level. So that's what I see, and I see Steph being MVP and Jordan Poole being 6th man of the year.
All right. I still think they should start Jordan Poole, but that's just me.
I mean, they could, but you know why? I want him to start with a second group because that helps Wiseman out.
Yeah, it does.
It helps Wiseman. Him and Dante, they'll help Wiseman out and keep everything organized because Kuminga don't know how to pass right yet. And you need somebody to know how to just do a simple bounce pass on pick and roll. And that's Dante, and that gives what's his name? Poole more time to develop that friendship, that camaraderie with them, in my opinion. And I need to know, what does Dan Snyder have on the owners? I want that TMZ.
Man.
I need to know.
Listen, Daniel Snyder is a businessman who somehow managed to destroy the reputation of Johnny Rockets, which is a flat top burger joint, and he had two separate amusement parks, Six Flags. I forget the other one, and he somehow managed to, I personally think, commit. Well, I don't want to say that. He somehow managed to leverage those earnings and assets into purchasing the Washington Redskins, and has ever since been a pariah in professional sports. There is, to me, no difference between Daniel Snyder and Robert Sarver. And if you didn't live in that area, you don't know the details. So whatever, quote, dirt the dude has on other owners, I'd be like, bro, nobody's probably worse than you. So,
well, because that's why I was wondering, because they got rid of Bill Richardson out there in Carolina before we got the new owner they have now. So I'm like,
Bill Richardson is a complicated case study, right? A lot of people like the NFL does one thing better than the NBA, and that's keep certain things in house because they've just been doing it longer. Bill Richardson had an opportunity to keep the ownership. He even had legal recourse if he wanted to take it, but he basically admitted he was wrong and tried to show contrition. And he even said, later, like, I was wrong and I'd listened to the fans. And at that point, it became apparent and he sold it because originally he wasn't going to do so. Daniel Snyder has been fighting these allegations for, I'm 40. So for over 25 years, right? It's just is what it is. Like, it's just a lot of people are not happy with him. JF, hop up here. What do you got?
Yeah, Chris, I just wanted to continue with that. So, you compare Daniel Snyder to Rob Server. Do you see the NBA having anything like any type of crazy dirt like that, like the NFL has? Because I still feel like they kind of like undercut, the punishment on Robert Server. I know that he's selling both his teams, but I feel like, between him and Donald Sterling, like, there wasn't a real message sent out to the owners. You get what I'm saying?
Donald Sterling was a little bit different. It involved tape, but it also involved decades of being a pariah against the current owners. Robert Sarver, and the reason why I say Daniel Snyder, they grew up in a different era. So Donald Sterling was like a carryover, just like Bill Richardson. And the difference between those cases in Snyder and Sarver is they hide all of their stuff in business. So they end up having legal protections via, attorney-client confidentiality. A lot of it's put in also in trusts where you have to have specific legal recourse to enter the trust to take out certain things. And they did a better job like hiding who they are. We had the same problem with the McCourts, with the LA Dodgers. And essentially what it is was the ownership groups picked people who were like them. And they don't want to admit it because it makes them look bad. And the difference is Sarver became unattainable because the NBA is a progressive league. Daniel Snyder has not been untenable because the NFL is not a progressive league. They are a conservative league, not an ideation of politics in terms of how they actually act as a business entity.
Yeah, and my last question, does that stadium still have like the bathrooms flooding and overflowing into the seats?
He hasn't done anything in Landover to fix anything other than raise parking prices and food prices. So I don't know. I never stepped foot in the stadium since he's on the team. So
damn. All right, no problem, Chris.
Like I've never ever in my life have I've been to Eagles and Redskins or Washington Daniel Snyder's as I call him now games prior to him owning when it was Jack Kent Cooke and the Cook family. And they had issues. And I still went. But the moment Daniel Snyder became the owner was the day I was like, nah, man, I'm good. And then that was why I was still a fan. So there you go. I've always been this way. Tonight, full slate of games. Let me go ahead and give you that schedule. We got Houston and Indiana at 7 p.m. It's so bad in Indiana. I was at my son's swimming practice. Like, they are putting out, like, hey, if you buy a ticket for the game today, we might be able to move you down closer to the court because, like, ain't nobody going to the Indiana Pacers game. It's real bad out here, guys. The Cleveland Cavaliers look to continue to gel as they head down to Orlando to play the Magic at 7. On NBA TV, the last game of the NBA Canada Series, Toronto hosts Boston. New York hosts Washington at 7:30. I think this is going to be an actual entertaining game for New York. I don't know what Washington's doing. I'm going to watch it because I need to see Monte Morris as a starter. Brooklyn closes out their preseason in Minnesota, and this might be the marquee matchup if it wasn't for Denver and Golden State. Is Minnesota real? I think we're going to find out this season. Is Brooklyn back? I think they are, and I think a lot of it isn't determined on Ben Simmons shooting. I think it's based on health. Once Seth Curry and Joe Harris come back, and if they can integrate into the motion offense that Brooklyn is putting in, that's going to be a very dangerous and scary team. The New Orleans Pelicans host Atlanta. Not seeing Zion in this one, maybe not even BI. Look to see a lot of young guys, especially Trey Murphy III. Atlanta, I think, is going to end up finding out that they're not as deep as they thought they were. I think their top end 5 can compete. The question is, can Bogdan Bogdanovic come back healthy? And can somebody other than Bogdanovic off that bench score enough points? Dallas, unfortunately, closes their preseason in Salt Lake City. And I say unfortunately because I've been to that city. There you go. They look to close out a very successful preseason where they are showing the world that even though Jalen Brunson is doing good things for the Knicks, the Dallas Mavericks were prepared for Jalen Brunson to leave. Jose's up here. We're going to hop into that in a second. Golden State hosts Denver at 10 o'clock on ESPN2. And then the last game, the Los Angeles Lakers travel north to Sacramento to play the Sacramento Kings. And I'm telling you, it's going to be a very interesting season because Sacramento might be better than the Los Angeles Lakers, and that has not happened in years. There you go. The games for tonight as we head into hour 2 of Hoop Spaces. I want to thank everybody for spending any amount of time here. We'll hop up next to Jose to get in some Mavs talk. We'll head down to CJ, and we'll bring back Bonkai the Show Killer because there's other things that I want to talk to Bonkai about in terms of the league and to see what he's got planned for season 2. Jose, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Chris. I'm doing fine. I'm ready to get out of this job. What about you?
I'm here to get a job. I haven't been paid. I'd love to get a paying gig. NBA, ESPN, CBS, Vox. I'll even go to Vox. I didn't even know Vox still existed. What's up, Vox? SB Nation. So, Jose, that's an interesting question you asked. I had a conversation this morning before I went on air. And it was like, hey, remember when the NBA did Spaces? And I'm like, I sure did because they picked the same time I did. And they're like, yeah, they're going to do that again? I'm like, I sure hope so. And then somebody says, why? It's like, because they suck. So, if you don't want to suck NBA, for real, hire me because people don't want to sit there and listen to a static, slow, incoherent Q&A, right? They want interactive, informative spaces where they can come up, get their say in, and ask some questions to these reporters and athletes and former athletes. That's like free game. I am giving you free game because you need help. Jose, the Mavs play today. A lot of people have said that they're not going to be a top 6 seed because the West just got so much better. And I say to them, but they got so much better because Dallas got so much better. What are we doing? What are we doing? Dallas, let's talk.
Look, Chris, it's asinine to think that people still have Dallas out of the top 6 or even a play-in because for the last 3 well, no, not 3 years no, 3 years because the last 3 years Dallas has been counted out, but yet we've played 2 series against the Clippers back-to-back years. We get into the playoffs last year when people are like, oh, what has Dallas done? I mean, Jalen Brunson takes a lot of credit for that because, we need to give him a lot of credit for that because Jalen Brunson was absolutely stepping up last year and providing that secondary ball handler that we were looking for. He was right there on our own team. And then we got Dinwiddie and, the rest is history. And then going into this year, it's just like, okay, we've added rebounding. We've added a potential guy who could go off for a double-double any given night in Christian Wood. Even though I don't like Tim Hardaway Jr., we brought back Tim Hardaway coming off of a broken foot. It's like, okay, we have 4 or 5 guys who could give you 20 each night, and yet you still don't consider us a threat. That's funny because we have one of the top 5 NBA players in the league in Luka Doncic, and you still don't have us in the top 6. Asinine. The math ain't mathing like Sean with a W says. So I just fail to see the exact reasoning because Kirk Henderson, who was at Mavs Moneyball, had Matt Moore on to talk about bets and talk about how the Mavs only have a projected 48.5 winning percentage. Well, not winning percentage, but total. and bettors couldn't exactly give Matt Moore a reason as to why they are gonna stay the same. If we're bringing in defense and our main objective is defense this year, and you have one of the top five offensive players in the NBA on the team, again, it's just hard to correlate where people see the Mavs falling out of the top six. I could say I even put it on my Western Conference prediction. Me and Rolo and Jazz did on 77 Spaces. After the Is Talk interview, I have the Mavs at five. I mean, they could easily move up to four, just like they did last year, and we still had more questions last year than I think we're going into this year with. A third ball handler is still a primary thing that we need, but it's just I don't know, Chris. I could go all on a rant and give you the same talking points, and I still don't see how anybody can have the Mavs out of the top six. But I find it interesting that the Mavs only got three preseason games. Why do you think that is, Chris?
Um, Actually, they had four and they canceled one. I thought.
Oh, I wasn't aware of a fourth. I just knew that when preseason started, we had three games, which was just crazy because it's like I want to see this team a little bit more. And if we're gonna take Friday's night matchup with Orlando, it's like okay, we only got to see Luca maybe 20 something minutes. We got Christian Wood for a good 25, 26. But it's like we haven't really seen our team that much. And then tonight is more so like your final rehearsal. You're gonna play your guys for maybe about the same range in 20, 25 minutes, and then you're gonna see your bench guys a little bit more. But I just find it a little bit weird. Like with Compazzo, if he officially signs today or tomorrow, I would have loved to see him tonight for our final preseason game because after tonight, it's like, okay, we're all preparing for the Suns, and Compazzo's going to have to get into the offense. He's going to have to learn everybody. He's going to have to build that chemistry, and then it's going to be a quick turnaround into the NBA season. That's what throws me off about the preseason schedule for the Mavericks.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Jason Kidd is the one who made the decision. Here's what he says in quote: "I wanted to see less preseason games just to have the data to see how we handle it. A lot of teams are playing 4, 5, or 6, so I went on the other side to see if we can play 3. We'll see how it goes. It could be something that we don't ever do again, or if the players say they like it, it'll be something we'll do again." When asked why, he said, "You were tired by the time the season started because you were already having two-a-days, and that's practice. So then you end up having two-a-days, and then you even have back-to-backs during the preseason. You start off the actual season tired. So strategy is your answer. But good luck."
Now, I think he also took into consideration that Luca was going to be playing Eurobasket, and so I guess it makes a little bit more sense now that I have that information. Appreciate you, Chris, for looking that up for me.
Absolutely.
So I guess it makes sense. I'm just eager to see what Jaden Hardy does tonight. I mean, Rolo is still on Josh Green Island. I bought a little bit of stock into it, but I mean, Jaden Hardy is my guy, and I just want to see what he's able to do tonight. I don't I don't think there's an issue with him starting, Chris. And I know you said that he's not ready, but Dallas is in a weird position in terms of developing players, right? So I said yesterday that we need to give time and we need to allow players to develop. With Josh Green, it's been a weird couple of years with him, with Rick Carlisle not being able to, well, not even seeing him play his rookie season initially. And then we had the breakout COVID year where he's not even getting playing time during a COVID outbreak on the team. And then Jason Kidd enters, and then Josh Green is only getting about 10, 12, maybe even 15 at the max. And you're like, we still haven't really seen this guy play. and we need him to play, as opposed to Jaden Hardy, who's coming in, and you don't necessarily need him to play, but then you only have him for 3 years. Of course, you have his restricted bird right, but still, like, what is your process in terms of, like, how would you develop these young guys on the Mavs?
There's only one way to develop players, and that's to give them minutes. And that's the issue. Is at the pro level, it's very difficult to give them consistent minutes, while simultaneously giving them, their worksheet to be graded out on how they're developing. NBA teams have a hierarchy in the coaching um, tree. There is a coach generally responsible for the macro view of development, and then there are specific developmental coaches for bigs, guards, and wings. They go into the practice. They have, hey, here's what we need to work on, and that's why even before the G League was the G League and was the D League, or the developmental league, I was screaming, like, if you're going to do it, you need to create a full fledged minor league system so that you could have several tiers of basketball. Right? I think that the NBA has skewed more towards entertainment development as opposed to basketball skill development, and that's totally fine because it's a professional entity. This is how they make their business. This is how they make their money. So, how do you bridge those two worlds? And it really is happening before our eyes. Like, the G League is incredible basketball now, and every team now finally has their own G League team. I honestly think they need another, and that it needs to be similar to European club level soccer, where you have tiers. Now, there isn't going to be relegation in this model because we couldn't do that, not in this country. There's legal ramifications of creating a relegatory body, but we can get a hybrid Major League Baseball style minor league where you have the parent club, you have AAA, which would be G League, and then you have the developmentals league right below that. And then that would give players like Tyler Dorsey, right? That would give players like Theo Pinson, who exist on the margins, to get an additional year of straight development before they might be able to go up to the next level. And then at that point, it starts filtering itself out, and you'll still get the players that are like LeBron being LeBron. But then maybe instead of Frank Nicolatina, I can never do the last name, instead of him being paraded around as something he's not, he then would have had the extra development to become something he could become, right? And that's really the issue. Is it's one about expediency and profit versus developing a full cachet of basketball players. And until we either have massive expansion in a global process, we won't have that. So where we're at now is probably where we're going to be for the next 20 years, unfortunately, I think.
So, given all the reasons you give me, it's kind of why I disagree with you saying Jaden Hardy's not ready. Because if we're in a development slash entertainment system, Jaden Hardy is electrifying in terms of charisma. He has the personality. He's gonna jack up shots. He's gonna give you the three ball, which you want to see, which fans want to see, and then you're also trying to slot in minutes for him as well and give him that time to develop. That's where I kind of disagree with you, Chris, in terms of Jaden Hardy not being ready for a starting role.
Yeah, no, and that's what makes this sport great. I, as more of a conservative approach to basketball, see the wonderful offensive capability. But for all that wonderful offensive capability, dude was giving up buckets. He wasn't in the right space half the
Yeah.
time, right? He didn't make the right pass half the time. And a lot of that comes with the minutes. But when you get into the regular season where the record matters, do you want to take the risk that he gets 18 minutes, sucks, Jason Kidd pulls him, he loses confidence, and then thus derails the development that you were looking for, giving him minutes? You have to understand that the Mavs aren't in a position where they can just give up wins. That's the problem. So, if the West was weaker, sure, but the West isn't weaker. And if Jaden Hardy costs you 3 wins, and instead of being 51 wins, you're 48. Instead of being 6th, being 7th, and that was the reason. How are you going to feel as a fan?
See, so it's had a chart where it says how rookie guards particularly impact the plus and minus, and a lot of the guards were in the minus. I think there was only maybe 2 or 3 guards in their rookie year getting that rookie start, where they actually contributed 2 plus minutes, and that's where I could understand, and it makes me slightly disagree, but I understand the reasoning. And if you put him on the bench and you start Dinwiddie, it's just like, okay, we're in a weird spot with that starting point guard right off the bench, and you're going to have to carve out a definitive role for Compazzo, which people just automatically assume that he's going to be a 15th man, which I say no, he's going to be a rotational player because you don't have a third definitive ball handler. The discrepancy sometimes in terms of
It's
that.
hard.
Yeah.
You don't sign a vet the last day of preseason to make him a 15th man. You sign a vet the last day of preseason to give him 15 minutes.
Exactly. And man, Chris, sometimes it's a battle out here talking basketball, and I'm not gonna say I'm the most well versed person to talk basketball too, but I feel like I know enough to say, hey, this man is gonna get minutes, despite y'all saying he's just gonna be the 15th man.
Don't
Like
worry, you'll get better in season 2, like just as everybody does. Season 2 of 77 Spaces went live too, so make sure you shoot him a follow. Catch Paradox Killer 23, aka our man Jose. Speak on it, Rolo, and Jazz, aka Scammer Sultan, to do exactly what he's saying. Be a better basketball fan, and how to do that? You go talk to other basketball fans of other teams.
I apologize for taking up so much time too,
You're
Chris.
good. No
I
apologies
appreciate you
needed.
for bringing me up.
Absolutely. No apologies needed. Besides, what we're going to talk about Utah. Y'all want to talk about the Utah Jazz? Here you go. They suck.
The king of the north. I'm a big fan of Lauri Markkanen just because he wanted to come and play for the Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, and for those who are wondering, I don't think the players suck, okay? The players on the Utah Jazz don't suck. The Jazz as a collective team suck because they have no identity other than they're a collective part of people that they got moved for, right? Kelly Olynyk, Lauri Markkanen, Malik Beasley were all on other teams last year. Taylor Horton Tucker, Jared Vanderbilt, Walker Kessler, all on other teams last year. Like, there's no continuity. Their continuity is Mike Conley and Jordan Clarkson. And Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who I thought was going to be the starting small forward and apparently can't do jack and is now the third depth chart point guard. Like, it's going to be a tough sell for that Utah Jazz hosting the All-Star game. It is just, it's going to be something. And also, for all you gamblers, what he said, the king of the north, y'all better start looking at Lauri Markkanen for some of those daily fantasy bettors. Like, that, like, there ain't nobody there. You got Lauri Markkanen, Colin Sexton, and Malik Beasley. They jacking. They jacking, yo. Just so make sure if you do that betting, bet responsibly. I don't gamble because you lose. Eventually you lose. And you can't tell me I'm wrong because, like, I've seen it. All right, we're going to move off of the Jazz because that was all I could talk about. Kelly O needs to be freed and sent back to Miami. JFK, let's talk some Miami Heat because they need a 4. I'm not convinced they have it on the roster. They need a move. Let's talk. JFK, diehard Heat fan, purveyor of Heat culture. The Heat are looking to prove the naysayers and the doubters wrong after making it to the finals, making it to the second round, taking the Boston Celtics to Game 7. A Jimmy Butler 3, which, by the way, y'all need to stop talking about the shot. It was the right shot. He was open. He's the best player. He took it. He missed. Move on. They are still a good basketball team. And everybody saying that they are not going to be a good basketball team, I need an answer. I need an explanation. Up next, JFK will help provide that. But before there, breaking news a half hour ago. And I just say breaking news a half hour ago because it ain't breaking. Russell Westbrook is going to come off the bench and eventually be bought out. I added that second part. Because if you're going to bring Russ off the bench, you might as well just buy him out. And also, somebody text me or DM me about Austin Reeves. I like Austin Reeves. It's a numbers game. He's not a true 3, right? He's a true 2. LeBron plays the 3. LeBron's going to get 30-plus minutes. Are you telling me that Austin Reeves is going to eat into LeBron minutes? Juan Toscano-Anderson is the first forward off the bench. Is Austin Reeves going to eat into his minutes? When they need a 6'8", 6'9" guy to guard a 6'8", 6'9" guy? Like, I like Austin Reeves. I just don't see how he gets more than 18 minutes. Period. I just don't. That's just me. All right, JF, you with us to talk some Heat?
Yeah, I'm here, Chris.
All right, so people are writing the Heat off. Like, they have been phenomenally consistent in competing since getting Jimmy Butler, yet people look at the assorted bench parts and say, oh, this is nothing. We don't need to worry about Gabe Vincent, Duncan Robinson, Max Strus, or Dwayne Dedman. But I think they kind of missed the point. The players don't matter. It's the system. And the system has stayed the same, and the system has produced a 4-1 preseason record. Why are people anti-Heat?
That's a great question, Chris. Great question. Still hasn't been figured out yet. One of the great questions that still needs to be figured out. I don't know, Chris. It could be Pat Riley. It could be because of the location where we're at. It could be because LeBron came here about 10 years ago, said he was going to come win 7 here. There's a lot of things to speculate when it comes to people hating on the Heat. To be honest, Chris, I'm at the point where I don't give a damn. Because what I know from my team, Chris, is that we got some type of continuity. Mickey Arison is never going to do this team wrong. And his son is never going to do this team wrong. I know they've gone through a rough patch with bad contracts and stuff like that. With having Ryan Anderson on our contract books for about 5 years after his retirement date. We had Hassan Whiteside thinking it was going to be one of our cornerstone stone pieces. Shit, we was even cheering on Philly Cheese at one time. You know what I'm saying? We gave Wayne Ellington his nickname, the man with the golden arm. Like, I've been there since the Heat looked so bad it made Ben Simmons look like the next coming of LeBron James. And that's when he was actually taking shots, Chris. But, coming into the season, one thing I do like is what Pat Riley's trying to do. He's trying to build a team that can last for years to come because he understands when you get a star, that star might get up and leave. I mean, a lot of these stars have their own power to do what they freely want to do. It takes a situation like the Nets and KD to keep KD back at Brooklyn because of the asking price is too much. What I see coming is a great, huge pickup, Nikola Jovic. I think, Jimmy Butler talked about him last night and how he fits with the starting players. The man has not graduated high school yet, but yet his basketball IQ is really, really high. The best European basketball player to come out last year in the draft. To be honest, there was a lot of people I was looking at, Chris. Me and you were talking about it. I was playing in the NCAA, but you know what, Chris? I keep on forgetting that the Heat have ties to Serbia, and those Serbian players. They have a coach, and I'm trying to find out who it is, or a recruiter, or whoever it is, that has been doing a lot of international work when it comes to getting these players. Good job of putting these players in the right position, to go play for the national team and build themselves off of experience like Nnamdi Vincent and also Precious Achiuwa when we had him. That's what raised his draft, not his draft, but his trade value. So we were able to get a Kyle Lowry. If we're talking about Chris, be realistic. We're going to have to wait until the trade deadline or whenever we can make a trade in the middle of the year. I think one of these pieces in the NBA are not going to be able to fit at the 4 for their team. Maybe it's because they have younger guys that are doing better. Maybe it's because it's a bad fit for a system. But the Heat are always going to do diligent in getting somebody that can actually fit their system. And I'm okay with having guys like G League players like a Max Strus coming off the bench. And I'm disappointed, Chris, you didn't mention Victor Oladipo coming off the bench. And he played for your Indiana Pacers. I mean, right now you're Indiana Pacers. But again, this is a man that is really took a low contract just to prove himself worthy, that he's still that dude. I think our shooting is there. I think Duncan is coming back with a vengeance. He's spreading out himself more as a more versatile shooter, coming off the elbow, coming off the wing, coming off wherever he needs to come off. I think him and Max Strus look like they've been in the gym all summer long. I haven't really heard too much about Duncan's podcast, so that's actually a good thing. You already know what happens to people in podcasts. So I think that we're set up really good for this season coming up. There is one team that kind of scares us, and there's a couple teams that scare us, I ain't going to lie. And it has to deal with teams that have length. Talking about your Minnesota Timberwolves, Toronto Raptors, Cleveland Cavaliers, especially with adding a Donovan Mitchell. We can't blitz a Darius Garland no more because he's going to have help as well. But even dealing with bigs is going to be a problem. But, for us to get rid of a 6'5" PJ Tucker, retain who we have, which are taller fours, pick up Nikola Jovic and have still Omer Yurtseven and Dwayne Dedman, I think Eric Spoelstra is going to do some type of crazy formation where he's going to be able to get people in the right spaces at the right time to make the proper shots. There is not going to be anybody taking no whimsy shot. And to be honest with you, Chris, again, we're only one Jimmy Butler 3 away from the finals, so I don't know why we're still projected to be low, especially with, us not having a Tyler Hero in that finals as well. A banged up Kyle Lowry, you know what I'm saying? PJ Tucker was basically a shell of himself right now. As you can see right now in Philly, his knee is still bothering him. But we really didn't have what it takes as nutritional wise to get to the finals. So hopefully, we fix that problem, and hopefully because of the conditioning that, we demand before season, hopefully that helps us out. But in those games going 4-1 in the preseason, I understand it's preseason, but goddamn, I was happy. I'm just scared of Minnesota, and I'm just gonna be real with you, Chris. When a team when a player like Anthony Edwards, who doesn't give a damn against who he goes against, that's where it kind of hurts us, because a lot of people are kind of, I guess you can say, either not, they're kind of scared or they're kind of worried to go against us because we know we're a dog of a team, but it takes another dog to beat a dog. So I'm only worried about those teams that actually have those dog guys with them. But speaking of the four, we're just gonna have to sit and wait, Chris.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think giving credit to you, you put out an interesting point. There are teams that are scary. The Raptors and Timberwolves are scary. If you look at that roster that they both have, they got length everywhere. They have athleticism everywhere. They have shooting. They have defense. So I'm going to ask, and it's a shout out to JFK. Let's give him a point. Who is the scariest team this NBA season? Go ahead and throw your answer up there, and we'll try to get some of them up here as we enter the back end of the second hour. Want to say what's up to everybody. We got some more people who've popped in. Malika Walker of the Rewind, ladies and gentlemen, the Rewind Pod had a phenomenal episode last night regarding the Dream Team, the top 5 centers of all time. We definitely want to get that tweet up here so we can go ahead and have you listen to it, because I'm telling you now, you say you want to talk ball, and we're here talking ball, but then you don't talk ball. I'm telling you, you're missing out on something really good with the Rewind. Also in the building, we've got Ace Henderson. Ace Henny's here. Kent, just the old clam in the mud flaps of Portland, is here. We definitely got to talk about some Trailblazers, because they are probably going to be this year's roller coaster team. Also in the building, our girl Nat, Reese Rebel 31, getting ready to launch the debut episode of Benchwarmers next Tuesday. I will be there to co-chair. It is a phenomenal show. If you happen to watch First Take at any point in your life and you thought you could do that, now's your chance. Get up here, have a take, don't suck. Because if you suck, you're going to get it. We're going to light you up. CJ, what do you got? Good morning.
The scariest team resides in the Bay Area, San Francisco to be specific. Their young guys on that bench look to be ready. And the crazy thing is that their future looks incredibly bright. Regardless of the shenanigans of a Draymond Green. You know, this team looks to be a team that is going to be a thorn in every other franchise's side for the foreseeable future. And I'm excited for this last preseason game because now that the Warriors have waived Lester Quinones and Quindary Weatherspoon, it's going to be interesting to see who they give these two-way contracts to. My bet is that it ends up being Ty Jerome and Pat Spencer because I've heard that the organization really likes Pat Spencer and they got rid of Mac McClung so that they could bring in Ty Jerome. So I believe that's a guy that Kerr wants on the roster. Um, so I'm excited for that. And just the other thing, Chris, you were talking about the G League earlier, and like the idea that you had, I was actually intrigued by it, but I was curious if you think is it so much how I guess the system is created around the G League, or is it just how each individual team utilizes their G League? Because I feel like a lot of teams don't utilize their G League teams in the same way, and some of them kind of like they're just there, and then for other teams they utilize it as more of a farming system.
Yeah, there's no uniformed approach to how teams have participated in the G League. It was suggested as a way to round out presentable basketball in other areas of your region. Um, I live in Indiana. That's why they said you're Indiana Pacers. I am not an Indiana Pacers fan. I'm a Sixers fan. Like, for some of those who are asking Eddie. I'll use Indiana, however, as an example. The Indiana Pacers play in Indianapolis, but their G League team is the Fort Wayne Mad Ants, and Fort Wayne is northeast of Indianapolis, halfway between Indianapolis and Detroit. I thought it was a very odd place to put their team because you're now in a market where you're facing the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Detroit Pistons. They couldn't put it northwest around South Bend because then you're fighting the Chicago Bulls and the Milwaukee Bucks. So that really left, in my opinion, one place and one place only to put their G League team, and that was in Southern Indiana in Evansville, because there the closest competition would be the Memphis Grizzlies, right? You'd have Kentucky, Southern Indiana, parts of Tennessee, who had no exposure to NBA basketball, right? But they chose that way because that's what they wanted, instead of maximizing what their footprint could have been, right? That's the issue. That's just the business side. Now going into the basketball side, you had teams who were all in on the G League in terms of developing their players first, like the Houston Rockets, right? They viewed it as a free science experiment, for lack of a better term. They went in saying, none of these games are going to sway our fans. We can do whatever we want. And they said, hey, let's jack up 53s a game. And like a lot of people give Golden State credit for this, and it's because it's on the NBA level. But listen, those G League Houston Rockets teams, the Vipers, have just about equaled the impact that the Golden State Warriors offense had. Like, a lot of people in the G League saw it working, and guess what they did? They started implementing it into the G League. Well, guess where these coaches went? They went from coaching in the G League to coaching in the NBA. Where did the offense go? From the G League to the NBA. They used what Golden State did in the league. Houston specifically said, we need to be better. And now the entire league does it. And Golden State gets the literal credit, even though the G League had a tremendous role in lifting the league up simultaneously in this new three-point game. And it highlights the huge gap between how some teams handle the G League versus others. And then the league got involved and created the G League Ignite team, specifically to void off the threats of like IMF Academy, Overtime Elite, and some of these other third-party private groups who are trying to angle themselves as a place to develop a professional sports career, and they've been successful. And so now they've shown that if you take this purely as a developmental tendency, you will be able to get the most out of your players. So now, over the course of the last 2 years, NBA teams have finally bought all in. And I think what we'll see is the main complaint of the NBA not playing better basketball start to eventually wane as we get more players who have more direct developmental time because we'll have a standard practice in about 10 years.
Oh, okay, that's what's up. Chris, I just side note too. I don't know if anybody told you, but it was confirmed that Guy Santos is gonna play for the Santa Cruz Warriors. So I got you on your Guy Santos content. I'm gonna try to watch every single Santa Cruz game I can because I gotta watch my rookie PBJ, not the sandwich, but Patrick Baldwin Jr. Um, and Ryan Rollins, and I'm just excited not only for the big league team, my Golden State Warriors, but also for those Santa Cruz Warriors. So I got you on your Guy Santos propaganda.
I am huge on Guy Santos. I will say this. I think Guy Santos has a chance to become the best player from South America in history. There you go.
That brings a warm feelings to my heart, and I'm gonna have to write a long thank you note to Leandro Barbosa.
Literally, to me, a 6'8" version of Manu Ginobili. Literally.
That makes me feel amazing because that's gonna piss off so many other people across the league. So thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, long live Bob Myers.
Long live Bob Myers. You hopping on the Damo train with this. I see it. JF, hop up here. You got your hand up. Then we'll go to Ace. We also have two vets of our own, so to speak. Sean with a W, live from the Mecca Knicks Film School, and Jay, the Wakandan Jackson State University, dropping 40. Memphis Lakers, Los Angeles Grizzlies fan is up here as well. That is a long ass name. JF, go ahead.
Yeah, Chris, to go with the question at hand, who's the scariest team? Again, I'm gonna have to make this comparison. I kind of see this Minnesota Timberwolves compared to the '04 Pistons. Reason why I say that, I think D'Angelo Williams, just because you added Rudy Gobert, I think his pick and roll game is gonna step up amazingly. I think you might see him have that type of career like Chauncey Billups, where it wasn't really, he didn't really do anything until he got a team around him. I think Cat is going to do his thing. I think Ant Edwards is not going to have to play so technical because there's going to be so much other type of offenses to work around him where he could just play free and be himself. And I think you're going to see him improve this year a lot. The reason why I said that is because the Miami Heat usually take a West Coast trip. We have it earlier this year, but last year we took one. We won against the Nuggets, and you already know what happened. And they always thought that, the Denver Nuggets were the bad boys or this and that. And I was like, man, they kind of soft. We just have a soft player, Markieff Morris, and he's no longer with us, so he couldn't really fit with Heat culture. So the team that really beat our ass and up and down the court, even when they had Pat Bev, was the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I understand everybody's talking about the Pelicans or whatnot, but I'm still questioning Zion. And at this point in time, I don't have to question Ant. I don't have to question the Cat. I don't have to question Rudy Gobert or even the Brent Fours or everybody else that's on that team. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to question them. So that looks like it may be the scariest team. I do predict them to be at least top 5 in the West this year. They're not going to be no bottom half of the playoffs, or they're not going to be in no play-in, but they're going to be a very, very good team. The only question is I don't know how that coaching is. So I'll leave it at that as my scariest team.
All right. Appreciate it. Miami's going to be scary too. Shout out to Scott, who's responding. They are a dangerous team, and I think a lot of people just aren't going to give Miami the credit that they deserve. We're going to go to Ace next. What's up, Ace? It's good to see you back, ready for season 2. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I hope everybody's good. I intentionally try to stay off of NBA Twitter for most of the summer just because the way everything ended last season was a lot. But in a vacuum, there's like a couple of takes I've heard that I'm like, these are nice, these are cool, but I think they're a little left of center. Like, I think Miami is always going to be a force to reckon with, just because they have such a deep culture. You already know how they're going to play every night they show up. That goes a long way in this league. I don't fully agree with the Timberwolves. And the only reason why I don't fully agree is because I hate Rudy Gobert. I just think he's not good at anything. But that's just a personal opinion. But my real pick for like scary teams, I think we're underselling and overlooking like how good the Grizzlies are. Just like when you think about it, their record got better without their best player.
All right, I can.
I took a beat on that just because, like, hold on, let's think about that for a second. They got better without their best player. A point that was brought up about the Timberwolves, they lost their best perimeter defender. So I kind of see them regressing a little bit in terms of that, although they do have better backline support. You know, now they got two tall guys, but out of the West, I think we really got to look at what the hell Memphis can get done, because they were on a warpath last summer or whatever. But when you run into a team that has, like, you know, and I don't know how woo woo y'all get about some of this sports stuff, but like the Warriors, it was in their juju to win last year. They had Clay coming back. They had Steph fully doing stuff. Like, they were gonna win that championship regardless. So with that being said, like, their success is a standard, not really the outlier. So they're not really all considered a threat. It's a matter of who can match that. And I think energy wise, just off of young nigga energy, like Memphis is gonna be hell like all year.
I think they are. I think a lot of people are expecting Memphis to kind of fall back without Trip, and I'm here to tell you, Santi Adama is a very good basketball player.
Bro.
I have him on 2 of the 3 of my fantasy teams, and if I could have gotten him on the 3rd, I would have. I think he's going to put people's perspective of Trip in the correct place. And that Trip is not a complete player, and Santi Aldama is more of a complete player. He just doesn't have the athleticism and defensive prowess. Yeah, CJ, he's shocked. CJ is shocked. Like,
don't do that, CJ.
Why are you shocked, bro? Like, you got to see how Santi closed the season too, man.
No. Look, I'm only shocked because people are finally putting the idea of people finally putting Triple J in the right place is what shocks me. Like, I've had so many people kind of like over exaggerate or maybe just overstate like how good he is, and like I don't buy it. And as far as
no, he has a ceiling, bro. It's just he's not near his ceiling, and I don't know if he's going to be able to get there.
Well, but that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, it's almost as if people are like trying to sell me as him being like, I guess there's people out there who think he's further along than he really is. I'll just put it like that.
All right.
As far as Aldama, I can't speak to that because I haven't seen enough of him, so I'm not gonna like say anything about that. But just the idea of Triple J finally be put in his proper place is just gonna be fun for me to see. Because you feel me, like, you know, I think Warrior fans and Grizz fans officially have a rivalry. And I see my boy Aquaman down there, Miles. He throwing the thumbs down. Do that all you want, bro. But
I think this is more of your personal bias towards Golden State.
It's not. No, it's not. Because honestly, like, I actually think Memphis is gonna be a very intriguing team. I love their draft. Like, I love the rookies that they brought in. I think those guys are gonna contribute immediately. And so, like, I'm actually kind of nervous about Memphis. I just, you know, the Aldama talk has always been kind of like, all right, well, I guess I can take your word for it, but I gotta see it for myself. That's all.
If I may cut in, because I'm the one that brought up the Grizzlies, I don't know if anyone did earlier, I'll say this, just to level with everybody. When I say, like, they're scary or they're a threat, because they still are very young, they have pieces to figure out, I'll put an example up there, and y'all let me know if I'm in the right family. I see this Grizzlies team being kind of our next wave of, like, remember when the Trailblazers were a little young and fun, and when the Suns were kind of a little bit young and fun, like right before Nash got those MVPs? Like they had identities forming, but they got caught up in the fringe stuff. The Trailblazers became the Jailblazers. The Suns tried to play rough and tumble with the Spurs and lost their shot at the ring. So I say all that to say, if the Grizzlies don't worry about trying to appease whatever image or whatever they think the league wants them to be, and they just be that young, fun team that's really not afraid of everybody, we're gonna be looking at a 2 seed. I feel it.
I mean, they climbed. They want all the smoke and they climb chimneys. So
Well,
I
my
think that.
my my thing is I go based on production. Nat understands this. Sean understands this. And right now, Jaren Jackson Jr. has more production in line with Lauri Markkanen than Anthony Davis. Okay? Like, that's the problem here. And I like Tripp. I think, like I said, he's got a ceiling high. He can give you 20, 10, 3 blocks, 2 steals if he wants to. He just hasn't shown
My
he
thing
wanted
is,
to.
but if we frame that in the right way, I'm really racking my brain to think of like a perfect archetype for Triple J. But the Grizzlies, I think, for them to be ultra successful, they need to develop Adama, and they don't need Triple J to try and be a superstar because we're seeing
Well,
that his body can't hold up to it
yeah.
yet, right? But if he can manage to do 20, 10, and maybe 4 or 5 assists, and give us a block and a half every game, again, sitting pretty.
He ain't hitting you 4 or 5 assists, but he can hit the 2 to 3 blocks.
That's
Like
what I'm saying.
it's like Miles Turner.
Look, the playmaking is the outlier because everything else we've seen. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, bigs take longer to develop, and Aldama was the focal point of offense at college. So, like 25 is about in 2 years is where we'll look at Tripp again to see where he is. I love him. He's got a high ceiling. I just haven't seen him be more than Miles Turner.
Why is he better?
We'll see. Sean with a W is up here. He's got a great space plan with Gifted X Blade, host of the Locker Room NBA Film Spaces, covering the Knicks, because he's right. You either love the Knicks or you love to talk about the Knicks because you love to hate the Knicks. Either way, he wins. Sean, good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, next Tuesday, live from the Mecca and the Locker Room, we're collaborating to discuss the growth and potential of RJ Barrett. If you're one of those people that think that RJ Barrett sucks, you should pull up so you can actually learn some basketball because clearly you don't know enough. But it will be a good time in the locker rooms. We love the people at the locker room, so it should be a good time. The only thing I want to say, I listened to this discussion about the Western Conference, right? And I looked at the teams, and I say, okay, I'm gonna read these teams off: Dallas, Denver, LA Clippers, LA Lakers, Memphis, Minnesota, New Orleans, Phoenix. I grouped those teams together because guaranteed 2 of them are going to be in the play-in. 2 of them. Because that's 8. Because I just ran off 8 teams. I'd even mention Golden State. Because let's say Golden State is a lock, right? 2 of those teams are going to be in the play-in, and I just find it interesting that we're like, yo, New Orleans is going to be better, and the Clippers are going to be better, and Memphis is going to be better, and Minnesota is going to be better. It's like, well, all these teams can't be better. Somebody's taking a step back. And a step back doesn't mean that you're not good, but somebody's taking it's like one of those teams is going to be very disappointed in their season. I'm not going to say who. I'll say that to next week. But I think 1 or 2 of those teams are going to look up and be like, yo, how do we only win 46 games?
Minnesota.
It ain't them.
Chris.
Yeah.
You gotta let me.
Let Sean finish up, and then Nat can come back.
I'll land the plane and throw it to Nat. I'll say this: I don't understand how people think adding a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year and arguably a top 15 player and a top 5 defense on any team that he's on, and that's not going to make Minnesota better. I understand that we don't think that if a basketball player can't score or we don't got a bag, we don't think he's that good. But I'm trying to understand how that team, which I believe won 46 games last year. Yeah.
and now added a walking top 5 defense, people are going to be like, they're taking a step back. Someone explain it to me. Not the floor is yours.
D'Angelo Russell loading. That's all I see. Matt, good morning.
He'll be gone by trade deadline.
Good
Go ahead,
morning, Matt.
Okay, so I had a couple questions, right? And then Sean gets up here and then he makes me like, okay, now I gotta add to it, right? But one, I don't understand why Golden State fans cannot give credit to other Western Conference teams. I like you know you're good, right? And we all know it, right? But then when you come up here, I mean, yeah, Memphis is they're okay, they're young, and then when you start talking about another team, the Clippers, yeah, but they're the Clippers. You know, it's like you are the only good team in the West, and that is crap. I really think that it's okay, guys. I promise you, this is the kicker. If you give credit to other teams and how they constructed their roster, right, it doesn't take away from yours. Boom. Okay? I promise you it won't. Okay? So
Say that again. Say that again. I don't think they heard you. Say that again. One more time.
Dude, if you just give credit to other people's rosters, it doesn't take away from your own. You are still the Golden State Warriors. Like, I don't understand. You still have Steph. Steph is a guy who I argue with people how great he is. Because I know how great he is. And people just don't want to admit it. But why do you have to get up here and shoot down every single Western Conference team? You're either a super fan or you're going to be a real analyst. You got to pick one, you know? So also, there's all this talk about Minnesota, right? Minnesota. What is your beef with Minnesota? Like, honestly, what is your problem with the
I
Minnesota
don't like anything that
Timberwolves?
Rudy Gobert does.
Not you.
Not you. Just in general.
I know you don't. You are funny. I get it. You just don't like Rudy Gobert. That's cool. But
no one likes Rudy Gobert. That's the thing.
Wait, whoa.
I need y'all to
Whoa.
I like Rudy
Wait,
Gobert.
no, ain't no real quick.
I like Rudy Gobert.
Ain't no real. Hey guys, ain't no real quick. Let that go. Let that go. Go ahead, Matt. You cooking.
There is no real quick because I like Rudy Gobert. So no, you like whoever you talk about, it's not me. And there's a lot of folks up here that we actually watch all the NBA teams. Okay, I like Rudy Gobert a lot. He goes to Minnesota, all of a sudden they're going to take a step back. All of a sudden they're going to take a step back, right?
It's nasty.
It doesn't make sense. And I really hope that y'all just take a look deep within and say, why don't I make sense right now? You know, Rudy Gobert is going to allow Cat to do what Cat does. And then all this talk, you know what's funny? I'm going to be nasty right now, right? And I can't help it because it's the best example that I have, and I'm going to say it. You guys in Lakersville, right? Lakerland, whatever the hell you call yourself right now. You guys complain about Anthony Davis not wanting to play the 5, right? Not wanting to play the 5. I mean, if I have to, I will, but I really don't want to. But I'm really a 4, but I'm trying to be a 3. But then you have somebody like Karl Anthony Towns that has never been really a legit 5, and he has played that position in his whole career without problem. He is not your typical strong 5, but he plays it. You don't like him. Yo, Chris, I can't stand you right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today to listen to the wise words of a woman who knows ball. Her name is Nat. Reese Rebel 31 is the handle. You need to follow her now. Tuesday, we'll be debuting Benchwarmers. And if you think you can stand up to her, show up so she can smack you down and I can laugh. I like laughing. Laughing is fun.
Chris, yo.
I ain't never met somebody who didn't like laughing.
No, that's real. I met some people. Hold on now. There's some people in here that can't take a joke. Hold on.
Oh, well, not taking a joke is one thing. Not laughing.
Listen.
That's suspect.
I'm just saying, right? Like last year, I picked the Golden State Warriors or whatever. I was very confident that they were going to get to the finals or whatever because I looked at the rest of the West. I said Denver doesn't have all their pieces. They're not going to be able to do what they want to do, regardless if they have the Joker. The Clippers, they're not going to have Kawhi, and then Paul George goes down. I said that they're not going to win nothing. Now there are teams that have made improvements, and some of the improvements is just health. So it's like there is going to be competition there. So you just got to be honest with yourself. Are you more equipped to probably still get to the finals? Absolutely. But there are teams that are going to rattle your cage. And you just got to be real about that, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you're going to lose. It just means somebody's going to put up a real good fight, and they could win. So I don't know, man. Some of y'all just funny, man. That's all. That's all.
I was told the Phoenix Suns were going to lose 20 extra games this year, and I'm sitting here like, how?
No. Oh yeah, no. Sean said who, like, everybody can't win a certain amount of games. Sean, Utah is out. Utah is tanking for Wembanyama. That's what they are doing. Utah is going to try to go 0-82. There are going to be games that they play that they're going to be up 5, and all of a sudden they down 50. Like when the third quarter hits, I
down 50.
You.
All right, let me get these hands. Let me get these hands cleared up because we're almost at 12 o'clock. I told my son is home virtual schooling, so I actually do have to get ready to log soon. I want to make sure we get everybody. Nat, let me give you 60 seconds though, and like you heard her just play bar after bar after bar. Talk about bench warmers. Like they need to come in on Tuesday to get a real taste on what debate can be.
Chris, I think that Trae Young is the best point guard in the NBA.
No. Stop. Like, no, okay. How?
Because he wanted to play it.
Or Chris, I think that Trae Young is better than Steph Curry.
All right now.
Hold up. But is this not what y'all have heard people say when they do their hot takes?
Oh, this is actually a question that, because who's the better facilitator?
Oh, it's Trae Young.
Wow. Wow.
Look, they mad. They mad. Look at them.
They big mad.
That causes you to think.
Look at him.
If you've seen the Will Ferrell meme when he's watching the Lakers and he's rubbing his chin, that is exactly what I'm doing. Tuesday.
I want to hear this argument. That's what I want to hear.
Then you need to come by Tuesday.
Well, look, she need to do a pre-recorded and send it to me because I'll be working Tuesday.
And you see how all the Golden State Warriors fans is like, no, absolutely not.
I'm willing to listen to her argument. I have no problem with someone making a good argument.
But hold on, Danny. I never said I agreed with what I said. I said this is what people say, and these are the arguments that people bring up. This is your opportunity to come to Benchwarmers and say just that. Give your hot take, and you're gonna have somebody that's gonna debate against you. This is how it's set up. So this is your time and your opportunity to say all the crazy shit that we think of or you think of Tuesday.
See, that's a show for me because I got a whole lot of crazy takes.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. You do. Heat Fan 305, I see you. I'm going to get you up here in a moment. Let me clear out some hands. We're going to go first to Jay, the Wakanda tech support. He has yet to speak. He's hold decorum. He's hold his hand up so long, the melanoma is starting to tan out here. Jay, what's up? Good morning.
Good morning, Chris. Appreciate you letting me up. Phenomenal show as always. Define dangerous. Like, are we saying title contender or just
scary? The team that you don't want your team to face. Oh, by the way, are you? Well, that goes for either. Never mind. I was gonna say, are you answering from the Lakers or the Grizzlies? Like, I need to know.
Oh, the Lakers season is done. When Sean says there's a team that's gonna look back and be like, you know what, we should have played this for the draft. It's definitely gonna be the Lakers. So definitely.
Except that they can't because New Orleans has their pick.
Exactly.
Oh, and neither can Portland because Chicago has their pick. So what do we do? Yeah.
Portland. Yeah. Portland is in trouble.
And Chicago can't do it because the Magic have their pick.
Man, listen. It is like watching people play Russian roulette with water guns. It is It
Why?
is
Why?
just
Why would you do that? Go back to talking Jackson State. We don't need to talk about Russian roulette. Like
with water guns, Chris. I know
Russian
it's a
should be
family
a
show.
word that is like not even spoken. Killing me.
Anyway,
All
but
right.
no, the Pelicans, man, like what they've shown in preseason, like Trey Murphy has a serviceable jumper. Herb Jones is still Herb Jones. His jumper is coming along, and I'm not saying that they can make him under playoff pressure, but night in, night out, Griffin down in New Orleans has constructed a team that can match up with any team in the league and provide a counter. And that matters. So if you like to space and pace, he can throw out Ingram, Dyson Daniels, Trey Murphy, and Herb Jones, and either Valanciunas or Jackson Hayes, and just beat you with length. If you want shooting, he can do shooting. If you want to bang inside, he can bang inside. If you want to grind out half-court possessions, he has C.J. McCollum coming off double strings. So New Orleans is by far the scariest team because not only are they adding a potential All-NBA performer to a team that was on a 46-win pace after the CJ trade, but he also has picks to go get whatever he feels he needs at the trade deadline. So the scariest team in the league, to me by a mile, is the Pelicans.
All right. I can see that they have a hyper versatile approach. Willie Green is a player's coach, and I am going to be entertained how he divvies up these minutes, man.
Now, here's the thing about the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies' battle this season is going to be individual player development. Is that going to be enough to overcome Taylor Jenkins trying his best to be PJ Carlesimo?
Oh, stop it. There's like 12 teams right now that would give a first-round pick to have your coach. Like, what? What are you
Shoot me
doing?
the email, Chris. Shoot me the email, Chris. There's no system. There's no system in Memphis. There's no secondary.
There's no system, yet they managed to go 22-7 without their best player.
Well, because Tyus Jones is the best backup point guard in the league.
But there's no system. You just said there's no system.
There's no offensive system, Chris.
Okay.
Give Ja pick 30 feet from the basket, and hopefully something good happens.
Okay.
So wait, hold on. So we think that Trey Jones being the best backup point guard in the league, Tyus Jones being the best backup point guard in the league, despite the fact that he's 5'4", we think the coach has nothing to do with that.
He's just mad that Taylor Jenkins is limiting his team. That's what he's saying.
I can understand that. You may think that there's another level this team can go to, and that he is similar to. Well, I don't want to say that. Let me not say
similar to Thibodeau in New York. It's okay, Sean.
No.
That's Carlesimo.
What? Well, Chris, I've said that dude's a war criminal. So you know how.
Yeah, I know.
I was gonna say Dwayne Casey in Toronto, but Kawhi has something to do with that as well.
All right, let me get Micah, CJ, and Bonkai in here. Heat Fan 305 is here. We're going to go for another 15 minutes, and then we're going to get ready to enjoy the last day of NBA preseason. And a lot of people are like, why are you watching? Look, this is the honest truth. There are a whole bunch of young men who are about to lose their jobs, right? And if you are a fan of basketball, you understand that time in their world is shorter than time in the real world. And I don't know about you, but I find that just like poetic. I can watch that because it hits me. I can feel it. And, there's going to be a life after the NBA, whether it's in business, whether it's in EuroLeague, whether it's in China. These players are going to give it their all, and I find that honorable. And I intend to watch almost all of them through the course of the weekend. You don't need to do what I do, right? But just know that when you see some of these guys and they aren't going to make the team, respect what they did on the court when they were given their chance, right? Humanize them. Take this time to show them, at least in your own small way, even if you're watching a highlight, that what they do actually does matter as a human being, and that you are grateful for them putting in the work to provide entertainment for you. All right, there we go. We'll go first to Micah. We'll hit up CJ. We'll get up Bonkai. I see somebody else with their hands up. We'll see what we can do about that. And then we'll say what's up to Heat 305. Good morning, everybody. Go ahead, Micah.
Oh, man, I was just going to comment on what you said on the Rudy Gobert talk. I love Rudy Gobert when the other four people in front of him are cones. Like, he's like you said, he's a walking top 5 defense. Whenever he missed games, they had like the worst defensive rating in the history of the NBA. It was terrible, like bottom of the barrel stuff. So he gets a lot of flack for saying that he's being exposed in the playoffs because he can't guard on the perimeter. Why does he have to guard on the perimeter? Because his other 4 guys are getting blown by. And so I don't think that's fair to him to denigrate him as a player when his other teammates aren't holding up their end of the bargain on that side of the ball.
All right, there you go. Look, you're not going to find any Rudy Gobert hate from me. Would I have paid him $38 million? Probably not. I would have paid it close to it. But that is just more of when he signed that extension at the time. He got the max. That's how the economics of the NBA work. Like if you're the best player at that position in the off season, you tend to get the money. And he was, so he got the money. Utah couldn't replace him, so he got the money. Jalen Brunson should have gotten the bag from Dallas. Like, just imagine if they swing the trade for Christian Wood, yet still had already kept Jalen Brunson. We would be talking about Dallas differently, but because he goes to the Knicks and shows that he can be a lead guard, now all of a sudden people discount the Mavs, but the Mavs they got better. Danger's down there giving me a thumbs down. Danger, it's okay.
The move the Mavericks should have did was getting Colin Sexton from the Cavs. That's the swing in the middle.
Yeah, I don't know.
You want Luke to have that ball.
Yeah, and then you got Spencer Dinwiddie coming up with the ball when Luke is out. Like Colin Sexton, I love his hustle and grit. If Philly didn't have Tyrese Maxey, he'd be perfect in Philly. I'll just leave it at that. CJ, hop up in here, then we'll go to Bonkai, then we'll say what's up to Heat 305.
I'll say this. I'm actually not so much concerned about the players on Minnesota. My actual biggest concern with Minnesota is their coach. When they played Memphis in the playoffs last year, I felt like both Taylor Jenkins and Chris Finch made glaring errors. And I feel like Chris Finch is the one that could potentially hold this team back. But as far as that roster, look, I don't understand why people thought that trading for Rudy Gobert was such a terrible move. It made all the sense in the world to me. And I understand people don't have the imagination to try to figure out how Rudy Gobert and Cat can play on the floor together. But it makes a lot of sense to me. And with the talks of them doing a rotation of having D'Lo and Gobert play together a lot and then have Anthony Edwards and Cat play together a lot, it makes a lot of sense to me. So it's not so much the roster that I'm concerned about as much as it is the coach. But I actually believe Minnesota is going to be a very dangerous team this year. Not scary because, again, like I said earlier, that scary team resides in the Bay Area in San Francisco. Long live Bob Myers.
All right, we know y'all scary. All right, we got it. You scary.
How are you a scary defending champion? I'm sorry,
Y'all-
that just doesn't.
Y'all are.
Hey,
Hold on, TJ, hold on. Y'all are just as annoying as the Damian Lillard. I'm loyal. That's how annoying y'all are. Jesus Christ! If you loyal, stop saying it. If you dangerous, stop saying it. Jesus Christ!
We never heard the Spurs talking about, we're a scary team this year. They just showed up and good to work.
So hold on. First of all, I'm not gonna let you come after my fellow Oakland brother like that. Leave Dame alone. Dame is having to reiterate the fact that
Nah,
he's loyal because
because it's
people
not
keep
true.
asking
Because
about
it's
him
not true.
leaving.
Because it's not true.
Dame
You know,
running from the
well,
grind.
actually,
And,
you know what? This is the God's honest truth. People love greatness. People view Dame as great, and they view Dame wasting his greatness in Portland. That's why people are like, "Are you leaving Portland? Why are you wasting this greatness?" To which all he could say is, "I'm my own person, and I love it here, and I want to win here." He has 0 wins. Like, he will never win in this argument. Because the moment he says, "Oh, yeah, I would love to go play with Steph Curry," he's a pariah. He flipped on his word, and then we're like, ooh.
well, Dame's not that great. He mid. So I mean,
Oh no, let's
you
not do
want
that. Let's
controversy?
not
Here
do
you
that.
go. That's
Let's not do
controversy.
that.
Yeah,
Let's not do that.
no.
Hold on, hold on.
Dame is great.
I'm giving that a
So
head start
there
for
you go. I
Tuesday's
love it.
show. That he
I peep what you was doing. I love it. Go ahead.
he mid. I've always felt like that. He a good player, but I mean, he ain't nothing to write home about for me to lust over. No, there you go.
There you go.
You call him
Tuesday.
Gennaro Pargo. That's crazy.
Tuesday. Tuesday. Get it up here, because if you lose, you're going to get booed off the stage, man. Or woman, whomever's losing.
I hate the fact that, because one day Steph Curry is going to retire and we're going to lose an all-time great player, and I hate to see us lose all-time great players. However, when that day happens, the silver lining will be all this Warriors shit is going to be done, and all
Man.
The devil is a liar. Our bench is good, and we
Sean,
gonna be
don't lie to
good.
yourself. Sean, don't lie to
Go
yourself.
find their new team, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, I've grown up. I was Lakers fan." It's gonna be over.
Them
And
BBLs are clouding your judgment. Them
Look,
BBLs.
Sean said that, and now
the
the Warriors gonna
Warriors
get
are
Bronny.
the '90s Bulls, because
All right.
everyone was a Bulls fan until Jordan
So
retired.
So what
James
about Jordan
has
Poole and Kuminga, huh? What about
James Below has a question. Do you think, because of the talent this year, that it's going to be the biggest shakeup before the NBA trade deadline? Yes. I think it can be the busiest in the modern NBA. See how I did that there? Save it for Tuesday. Bench warmers on Tuesday. When is that, Nat?
Tuesday at 8 p.m.
Gosh. All y'all just jumping the gun, man.
Oh, I'll be there 8 p.m. If it's 8 p.m., I'll be there. Okay, yeah.
Danny over here
I'm
saying Damian Lillard is mid. I need to
He
put that out
is.
here.
He
See,
is.
I said he was annoying. I ain't say he was
Yeah,
mid, but
I'm not saying he can't play, but he one step over Russ.
You
And
call
there you
called
go.
him, but Danny, you called him Peyton Pritchard, and that's the thing. People are gonna eat you up for that. So I want you to come there.
He said he's C.J. Watson.
Danny, as much as I love you, you can't talk about my Bay Area guy like that. You can't talk about
He Bay
Down
Area all day. I give him God bless him, but he all right. He been chasing after Steph all this time. You know,
He modernized.
he like
He
Pepe Le
modernized. Don't do
Pew.
that, Danny. Don't do that, Danny. Don't
As
do that,
us
Danny. He
fans,
modernized.
we
We'll
gotta
get
have more
more of that
respect.
8 o'clock Tuesday. Hey.
I just
Yeah.
want to say, Chris, we gotta have more respect for our players, especially if we have Draymond on our team. Come on now, we can't be calling people mid if we got Draymond on our team.
I mean, Draymond, don't hate. Congratulate. See, y'all look. Hey, remember ESPN had us in 8th place. So I mean, what can we say?
When you say us, what exactly do you mean? Is it Golden State? Is it Charlotte? Is it Detroit? Which one? Because I don't even know.
Golden State. Detroit is my heart. Don't hate. And Charlotte is where I used to live. And I'm a South Carolina. I'm half South Carolinian, North Carolinian. Don't hate.
Man, I hear.
You got to play the numbers. You got to have a plan.
Oh man, it's gonna be phenomenal. I'm at 12:15, ladies and gentlemen. I'm out of time. I got to get going so my son can log on. I'm gonna leave you with that cliffhanger. It was fire today. Fire. It's not even the regular season, and we already here like it's Christmas. God, I miss the NBA. Tonight, lots of basketball. Real quick, almost everybody's playing that didn't play yesterday or the day before. There you go. Tune in. 7 p.m. is the first tip. Houston, Indy, followed by Cleveland, Orlando. 7:30 NBA TV, Boston and Toronto. New York plays Washington. We get to boo Kristaps Porzingis. It'll be great. Brooklyn, Minnesota is going to be interesting, as is Atlanta, New Orleans. And thank goodness Hawks Fan TV didn't pop in here today because he would have just completely incinerated the room, telling y'all why Atlanta is going to be the number 1 seed and make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Dallas and Utah at 9, Denver, Golden State at 10, ESPN 2, Lakers and Kings 10. There you go. See you Monday, 10 a.m. Peace out.